The future of this game has never been more promising, with 2.2 releasing right before 2024, meaning the community is heading into the new year with a basically entirely new game. The future for the community is very exciting, but also very unpredictable because there's so much new stuff that we aren't used to yet. It's not just another year where, hey, another top 1 releases, another community member gets exposed for taking Fire in the Hole way too seriously, and robtop releases a new sneak peek and that's a wrap, that's all that happens that year. 2.2 has completely changed that, and that's what we will be discussing in today's video. First off, we'll start with the stuff that we know for sure is happening in 2024. For sure, asterisk, I mean, robtop could delay 2.21 like 3 years, but whatever. Or just things that we know are probably coming within the next year for the community. And then we'll move into some of my predictions for the community within 2024. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to like and subscribe. It always helps out the channel a ton, and you can always unsubscribe later. Thank you all so much for the support recently, it really means a lot. We just hit 20,000, which is just insane, so thank you. Anyways, let's get on with the video. So first off, we know that there's a bug fix update coming very soon to the game, fixing things like the ignore damage bug and bugs having to do with the new shops, and you'll be able to disable shake triggers by level. So if you're playing one level that has way too many shake triggers in it, you can disable it just for that level. And we'll also be able to delete comments on deleted levels, which is currently missing. He's also working on the servers because we may have accidentally used 27 terabytes of space that quickly. Also, if you're curious, yes, robtop knows about lobotomy levels, and he's kind of leaning into it in the Discord messages. So yeah, sanity is fleeting, and if you're one of the few people who hasn't seen lobotomy levels in order to preserve that state of sanity, you will lose it soon. Moving on to the 2.21 update, this will bring to the game everything that was delayed from 2.2, including explorers, versus mode, the map, and event levels, as well as more platformer levels within the tower. There will also be other systems that are kind of rough now, like the auto build system that will be expanded in 2.21 to be made more UI friendly, and I would imagine a little bit more useful. There isn't too much of a prediction on robtop's part for when 2.21 will release, but my personal guess would be sometime this spring or maybe even in the early summer, because these are the features that he delayed because they were making the game take too long to update. So my personal guess would be maybe April or May, especially because there's a lot of other bugs that he'll probably fix in that update that aren't immediate concerns fixed in the upcoming tiny bug fix update in a couple weeks. Past that, robtop has said that 2.3 is supposedly going to come out in 6 months, or at least that's the target. My guess is that 2.3 at the earliest would release in like August. I personally think it's most likely to release in October or November of 2024, somewhere around that season. I mean, honestly, it could go into 2025 knowing robtop, but I doubt it'll take longer than that because he has learned from his mistakes with 2.2, just adding more and more features, and who knows, maybe he'll get an actual development team. So now moving into predictions for the next year. We've already seen the first legendary level very recently, so my guess is we'll see one of those every few weeks or maybe twice a month or so, and that we'll get our first godlike level. I couldn't see more than 2 or 3 of those releasing this year, but it's not impossible. I think it's possible that Tidal Wave could get raided still, just from all the backlash to the mod team deciding not to even raid it at all. But people have started to care less and less, so at this point I kinda doubt it, because the only way it could get raided is through the community sort of petitioning for it to be raided, kind of like how Abyss of Darkness wasn't raided until like a month and a half after its verification, or another top 1 is released some point this year, finally dethroning Kairos' alt account. Perhaps this would be Orochi, or Ascension to Heaven, or the Apocalyptic Trilogy, you know, one of the juggernauts that had a lot of progress made on it this past year. I'm looking forward to a lot of new projects that creators that are already well known are going to make this next year. Of course, Blee and Kuluk will now be able to make even more stunningly beautiful things, whether that's in collab parts or in solo levels with the new update. And of course, I'm still looking forward to old projects that were started in 2.1 that are going to be released or verified within the next year or in the future. In terms of specifically platformer mode predictions, I think that platformer demons are going to become a very big part of this game. Already, the first legendary rated level is a platformer medium demon, and it sort of appeals to a different kind of creator than the people who create classic levels because it's so incredibly different in terms of gameplay. I also think that platformer mega collabs will eventually start to pop up in the community a little bit. I haven't seen too much of that so far, but I imagine there's several in progress right now that haven't been announced yet. And I honestly have no idea what those will really look like. I mean, I do, but that's a secret, so moving on. In terms of my predictions for 2.21 and how it's going to look, I would imagine Explorers will play a lot like Dash in terms of how enjoyable it is, because there was so much backlash to the original sneak peek, and robtop's been working on it a lot since, and, you know, on top of that, he's given himself more time specifically to work on the level. I'm holding out for it to be like a hard demon, but honestly it's probably going to be more easy or medium demon, kind of around deadlock difficulty at most. Which I guess makes sense because, you know, the more early players are going to be playing the robtop levels anyways, but whatever, you can dream. I think there will be levels that are specifically made to be played in versus mode. I don't imagine they'll be too common, probably something more like how mini-games will be sort of a thing within the new update with the addition of platformer mode and the new editor mechanics for classic mode. But some sort of multiplayer game created within Geometry Dash for versus mode I think could be a legitimate possibility within the next year, depending on when 2.21 releases. And hey, if it's pretty good, that could be one of our first godlike rated levels. I would also predict that lists get better over time, because right now, they kinda suck. I've been grinding lists to get diamonds in the new shop, and basically, they all suck to some extent. Like, it's nice that, you know, maybe there's 15 levels and you don't have to do 10 to get the reward, but like 9 of them are good and 1 of them is completely garbage, because all of these lists, or at least most of them as of now, are sort of themed around decoration or nostalgia and not about playability. So if there's any mods watching this, I would very much appreciate it if you guys made some more lists that were focused on like really fun levels than just naming your list like nostalgic levels and then it's a whole bunch of old levels that play like absolute trash. But I do think lists will generally get better and we'll look back at the old ones as just sort of annoying, sort of like in a hypothetical world where map packs ever improved. My final prediction for 2024 is that we probably will see the community's attention shift away from the demon list. Not entirely, I still think it will be an incredibly large portion of the community that cares about it, but it won't be the central hearth for every event that happens in the community, because now we have speedruns, we have more customizable editor options for minigames and cool new effect levels to keep easier levels fresh. Diamond, Star, and Moon Grinding are all much more interesting in this update, and in Moon Grinding's case it now even exists. In other words, there's so much new stuff in this update that people could take an especially significant interest in other than just the hardest levels in the game. And I think that's a very healthy thing for this community, because up until now for a few years, basically the demon list was the only thing that was new all the time. You know, new top 1s are being released, new top 5s are being released, new extreme demons, that's basically what everyone focused on. Hell, that's pretty much all I focused on, because that was really the only interesting thing happening in the community to me. And now with 2.2, there's a lot more options for things that you can take an especially significant interest in, which I think will grow the community both in numbers, but also in terms of the diversity of things that people care about, which I think is a healthy thing for this community. I mean, when everyone focuses on the demon list, that puts an incredible amount of pressure on creators, and also incentivizes people who really just want money to make really bad top 1s that immediately get verified, and then now that is the poster child for the entire community, because that's basically what the entire community cares about. In 2.1, because everyone cares about the demon list, having a top 1 that a lot of people don't like in 2.1 has been seen as pretty significant, whereas in 2.2, it's just one of the many things that you can invest your time in. I mean, sure, star grinding and grinding easy and medium demons were always present in the game, but the majority of discourse within the community both on YouTube and on Twitter was focused around the demon list. And I think now finally we could hopefully see more of an end to that, in that the demon list is still very much a large presence in the community, but not the only one. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for an incredible 2023. I could have never imagined myself in this position like a year ago, both in the fact that 2.2 released and that I have 20,000 now. Thank you guys so much. It is unbelievable the amount of support I've been getting recently, and it means a lot to me. The only thing I ask in return is for you to please stop DMing me your lobotomy levels. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, all that, yada yada yada, you've heard it a billion times. Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2024. Goodbye.